As acknowledged in the previous videos, advertising is about building trust and rapport with your brand. To do that, you not only need to be persistent, consistent, and frequent, you also need to give your brand definition. For your brand to become an associated memory, the solution that sits alongside the problem in potential consumers' minds, your brand needs to mean something. So you need to broadcast your story. And that's where radio comes in. Do you know that radio is now the least avoided of all advertising mediums? In fact, it's first equal with cinema advertising as the platform we least avoid the ads on. That's because 90% of radio listeners are doing something else whilst listening to radio. Radio, unlike TV, press and online, doesn't require any commitment of time. It fits around its listeners' lives. They're not just avoiding it. 2/3 of all radio listeners are open to advertising messages. This is the highest in any form of media. South Africans love radio. 90%, which is 35.7 million of South Africans, listen to radio every week. 73% listen to the radio every single day. That's over 29 million South Africans. 52% of these listeners spend more than 20 hours a week listening to radio. 27% spend between 11 and 20 hours each week listening to radio. Now, if I were to ask you, when is the best time to ask your partner for a favour? Inevitably, your answer would imply when he or she is in a good mood. Now, when they surveyed the impact each media has on the way we feel, it's radio that has the most significant impact. Listeners are 9 times happier and more energised when listening to radio. It's because our favourite radio station plays our favourite music, and there is no other more powerful language of mood than music. In fact, radio listeners are twice as likely to have one favourite radio station when compared with any other media. Now, has anyone ever accused you of not paying them attention and asked you to repeat back to them what they just said, and you managed to do it even though they were right, you weren't really listening? Well, that's thanks to the power of our echoic memory and what they call inattentive processing. It's our ability to hear without even listening. Radio works without us even giving it attention. Information that comes through the eye enters the echoic memory and it disappears in less than 1 second. Sound enters the echoic memory and rattles around for 4 to 5 seconds before it dissipates. Here's another interesting fact. It takes us 29% longer to understand written words compared to spoken words. The brain always translates the written word into a spoken word. So telling people something verbally is the most powerful way for you to retain information. But you know that already because word of mouth is the backbone of your business's success. Finally, let's cover the topic of cost effectiveness. According to an in-depth Colmar-Brunton study on media spend return on investment, radio advertising delivers an average return on investment of plus 17%, more than online at plus 14% and TV now at 13%. Radio coupled with online advertising is a potent combination. It's delivering an average return on investment of plus 23%. People are 6 times more likely to go to an advertiser's website if they've heard them advertise on radio. 78% of radio listeners have heard ads, took some sort of digital activity within 24 hours. In conclusion, if you have a well-known brand that already has definition in this marketplace, to gain exposure for your brand and keep it top of mind, you can rely on that 0.7 of a second digital advertising will provide. But if your brand needs to tell its story, then radio is hands down the most cost-effective medium you can use to build trust and rapport.